So what do I like about the 2024 Toyota RAV4? You know, I've had this for a little while. I actually traded in my 2023 Toyota Prius for it, and I love the Toyota Prius, but there were a couple of things about it that kind of led to me trading it in for this Toyota RAV4. So let's jump right into it. First of all, I like the looks of it. Now, I'm going to put a little caveat there. The taillights on the back, not a big fan of the treatment on those. Toyota kind of made them stick out a little bit on each side, and it almost feels to me like they did that to kind of justify a styling change, if you will. I've seen a few of the older pre-taillight change RAV4s around, and I have to say, I like the way they kind of wrapped around before. It was more seamless. Now they just kind of jut out. But nonetheless, I like the looks of it. I think for a midsize SUV, it's a pretty good looking vehicle. Next up, we have to talk about fuel economy, because I did trade a Toyota Prius in that was getting about 54 miles per gallon, something like that. Of course, it was a hybrid. Now, I've lost some of that. I'm getting about 24 and a half miles per gallon. So, right about half of what I was getting in the Prius. I don't think that's terrible for a mid-size SUV. Plus, most of my driving, probably 98% of it, is driving on city-type roads with slower speed limits. So I'm not getting the best fuel economy I could be getting if I was driving on freeways and more steady trips, as opposed to stop and go, you know, stop signs and lights and all that stuff. But nonetheless, 24 and a half, probably going to get up to about 26 miles per gallon, I would say. It is still new, so we're still going through the break-in period. But I'm pretty happy with that. And it beats the heck out of my other two vehicles, the Jeep Wrangler and the Toyota Tacoma. Next is the comfort on the inside. Made a video recently, I talked a little bit about seating position, because that's something that, at least in the Toyota Tacoma, I don't like. I had to make a change to the angle of the seat to get it where I wanted. Not so in the RAV4. With the controls, and these do have power electric seats, I can get it to where I want it. No more do I have any of that under thigh pain that I had in the Toyota Tacoma without making a change to those seats. So I'm very happy with that. I think you could take a long distance trip in the RAV4 and not get rear end fatigue, if you know what I mean. Lower back pain, just general discomfort from sitting a long time or a long period in the RAV4. Ergonomically, they've got everything where it should be. Everything is within reach. I can even reach the glove box if I want to. Need to put something in, pull something out, whatever. I like that. I like being able to reach everything in without straining or maybe making it a little more dangerous to drive. Ever ride down the road and see somebody in front of you that's practically laying on the floor to reach something across their vehicle? You don't have to do that in the RAV4. Visibility wise, you can see everything. No issues with that, in my opinion. I have heard a couple of people complain that they couldn't see out of the RAV4. Frankly, I don't know what they're talking about. I think there's plenty of visibility in here. I really don't notice anything more obtrusive than normal, or than it should be, in your line of sight when you're trying to see out of the sides or even out of the back. And speaking of the back, I think the rear window in this is a perfect size. I can see everything I need to see out of here without anything blocking my view. Power. We have to talk about power, right? I mean, I'm big into acceleration. You know, a vehicle needs to go when I want it to go. And that's the reason, I think, primarily why I've traded off other vehicles in the past. I once had a Honda Civic SI. It was a manual transmission, of course, and that thing couldn't get out of its own way. It was horrible. It's the worst purchase I ever made. Traded that car about 2 months after I had it. What a financial hit that was. Just dumb on my part. Not so with the RAV4. They've got it set up, tuned up, I guess, in such a way that it's quick off the line. It's not a drag car or anything, don't get me wrong, but it goes. I've also experienced it on the freeway where I've kind of hit the gas a bit to change lanes or get around somebody. You know, one of those people that get in the center lane that drives 10 miles an hour below the speed limit. No issues there. It takes off its speed. There's plenty of oomph left that you can still go when you really need it to go. I like that. Speaking of technology type stuff, or at least that's what was on my mind, I do like that Toyota gave us the option to change the gauge cluster to the way that we want it. You can go with an old, more analog looking style with a needle speedometer, or you can push a button and change it to a more digital look. A speedometer that has a readout in digits as opposed to the old needle type. Now, if you like that, you have the option to keep it that way, of course. Mine actually came to me that way. I was horrified. I thought, oh my God, what have I done? Then I actually broke out the manual. There is a video on that, by the way. But I broke out the manual and actually figured out how to change it to a digital readout on the screen. I think that's pretty good. Next up, a spare tire. Sounds like such a simple thing, right? But going back to the Toyota Prius, they don't give you a spare tire in that car. Now, it's certainly not enough reason to trade it in, and that's not why I traded it in. We'll get to that in just a minute. But we have a spare tire. Now, it's not a full-size spare tire, but it will get you out of a pinch. If for some reason you blow out a tire, you can't use a little can of gunk like they give you with the Toyota Prius, you're not going to be stranded. Just more peace of mind, quite honestly. Now, let's get to probably the biggest contributing factor as to why I traded off the Toyota Prius, and that was space, room. Now, I knew it was a small car when I got it, right? I mean, I was aware. But what I wasn't really thinking about were passengers, particularly rear seat passengers. You know, having the Toyota Tacoma and the Jeep Wrangler, I didn't have a lot of room comfortably for for passengers, I should say, spare people, for passengers. So that was kind of a drag. I also have a lot more room in here to be able to haul stuff like groceries, or maybe a few things from Lowe's or something like that. I didn't have that luxury in the Toyota Prius. Again, I know it's a small car, you shouldn't expect to have those kind of things in it, but nonetheless, once you don't have it, you kind of miss it, right? I think I traded a full-size Toyota Tundra in for that Toyota Prius, so obviously there was a big difference between those. This RAV4 is the perfect size, I think. It's small enough that you're not driving some big honking vehicle, you know, those big giant SUVs, but it's not so small that you can't fit anything or anyone in it. I think it's an excellent choice if you have a family, maybe you like to travel a bit on the road. It'll get you there, and it'll get you there comfortably with room to haul all the stuff that, of course, you just have to take with you. Anyway, I just wanted to get on here, kind of share my likes about the new 2024 Toyota Prius. This is the XLE trim, by the way, and I think it's comfortably equipped with everything that you would need. Leave a comment. Let me know if you've got a Prius or maybe ever had one. What did you think of it? Did you like it? I'd just be curious to know. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there. Bye.